started. Welcome, everyone. We're very pleased that you're here for another information session on County Road 43. So we have about 20 people on the Zoom link, which is wonderful. We're glad that we were able to provide this meeting as a hybrid meeting. So with that in mind, Hilary Jeannot is going to be monitoring questions that may be coming in through the live stream. But before I begin with some introductions of colleagues here from both the counties and the project management team and the municipality, I'm going to start with our land acknowledgement. So if Alex, if you could roll, perfect. So the municipality of North Granville acknowledges that the municipality operates on the territory of the Anishinaabe. We recognize all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples who call North Granville their home. We respect and support the need for cultivating a strong relationship, and we commit to Indigenous informed decision-making to foster the path towards reconciliation. So moving to the next slide. First of all, I'd like to thank Bill Guy. Bill Guy is soon to be certainly at this point is the Deputy Director of Public Works at the United Counties of Leeds and Grenville, and plays a very significant role in the oversight of this project from the United Counties of Leeds and Grenville. He works extremely closely with our municipal staff. Mike Finley, who is our Director of Public Works, is away this week, but we are joined virtually by our CAO, Karen Dunlop, who is on the Zoom link. So thank you to Karen for being here. Karen and Bill and Mike do lots of chatting every few days, so they're in very close contact in regards to this project. We also are pleased to be joined by Alex Oliveira. Alex is from Aegis, which is the project management company, and I believe that we may also have Jessica Carroll on the call this evening, Hilary. Jessica is also with Aegis. From our own municipal staff team, in addition to Mike, who isn't with us this evening, and Karen, our CEO, who is, we have Keena Boyce, our Director of Communications, Matt Gilmer, who's the Manager for Economic Development. We have Hilary, of course, who's the Director of Strategic Initiatives, among other things. Hilary, sorry, I don't have your full title. Okay. As well as I'm joined by council colleagues in the room. Councillor Wilson is here, and I believe Councillor Strachan was here. I don't know if she's still in the room right now. Okay. So obviously, we're just going to run through a little bit of background, and then Bill is going to take you through the progress that we've made to date, as well as some upcoming changes to County Road 43, which are very significant to how we advance the construction and the expansion that is underway right now. So as you know, if you don't know, I should say, I think you may know, but if you don't, this vision for a boulevard, which is what we lovingly call it here in North Granville, is the largest road project that has ever been undertaken in the county's history. So it was many, many years in the making. I was elected in 2018 alongside council colleagues. Bill, you came on board, I think, just before 16, 18. How long have you been with us?
Same. Came in 18.
Yeah, that's
November
what I thought.
2018.
So when Bill came in and we had a new county council, we really worked collaboratively with MPP Steve Clark to apply for a federal provincial funding stream called ISIP, Investing in Canada's Infrastructure Program. And it was through a successful joint application with the federal and provincial governments through what is known as ISIP, which is this Investing in Canada's Infrastructure Program, that we were able to receive just under $10 million to support County Road 43. And that was really the trigger to move things along. So with that in mind, the anticipated construction period is approximately 2.5 years. Obviously, we're expanding the roadways. Should be evident to many of you from Colonnade Mall to County Road 44. And as you've likely noticed, we have a new 4-lane bridge across Kemptville Creek in the works. and Bill is going to speak a little bit later to, I'm sure, what you're noticing is some of that critical bridge work to enable a first, I should say, a first two-lane brand new bridge to be built, and then the old bridge will be demolished and will be replaced by another 2 lanes. Moving on. So obviously, as some of you know, I currently serve as warden of the United Counties, as well as mayor here in North Grenville. My warden duties are coming to an end in 2 weeks, so my term is almost up. But clearly, I want to communicate with you that all of United Counties, alongside my council colleagues here in North Grenville, share in the commitment to a healthier, thriving, and safer community. And we recognize that County Road 43 being such a major thoroughfare is an absolutely critical piece of infrastructure that was in urgent need of upgrades and expansion. So a lot of the vision for County Road 43 was to establish those multi-use pathways on either side. It was not just to expand the roadway, but ensure adequate lighting, to ensure trees, to ensure better movement of vehicles, particularly in an area which is commercially quite condensed. Hence, the establishment of 4 new roundabouts. And I can tell you, as Bill can, having worked with various businesses on County Road 43, many of those businesses were very keen to see the roundabouts versus kind of regular traffic lights, because they understand that from a traffic flow perspective, it will enable better movement of vehicles along that stretch. So improve vehicle flow, obviously increase safety and options for both pedestrians and cyclists is key. And then aesthetically, we've always said that the boulevard concept was about slowing people down on that section of County Road 43 and not creating a speedway. This is a commercial quarter in our community, and it's extremely well traveled, but we don't want it to be a raceway. So many of the provisions in terms of roundabouts and multi-use pathways are in recognition that we want people to pace themselves going through this stretch of Kempville, and use the road as it's designed. And I think with that, I'm going to turn it over to Bill, and he'll give you a bit of history on how we got here and where we're headed. And Hillary, you'll let us know or keep a record of questions as they may come up in the chat, or people can raise their hand through the Zoom function to be acknowledged when we get to questions and answers. So we just want to welcome everyone who's joined virtually. Thank you for being here. We're delighted that you were able to join our live stream, and Hillary's actively monitoring the chat, and you can put your hand up to ask a question at the end. For people here in the audience, once we're done with the formal presentations, you're welcome to ask a question from your seat, and I'll repeat it, or you can come down to the mic if you prefer to come all the way down and ask your question directly. All right, I'm going to pass it over to Bill.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for coming out, everybody. Appreciate it. Yeah, this project has been in the making for a long time. It started in 2010 when the first assessment was done, and it was established that the section of County Road 43 needed to be brought up to 4 lanes, and then the roundabouts were brought in as well. And the roundabouts are the way of the future, right? And that seems to be it. It keeps traffic moving. So it's been a long process. I mean, here we are 14 years, 15 years later, and we finally got the shovels in the ground, which we started in the spring, as you're all well aware of. And we're moving on. The plan is to work through the winter in consultation with Tomlinson. They plan on working through the winter, weather permitting. And we're not going to discourage that. We want them to do that as well, too, just to keep it going. And can you change the slide there, Alex, please? Yeah. So this is the overview of the area in effect here. So we're about 200 meters west of County Road 44 to about 230 meters east of the existing roundabout at Colonnade. There will be some work done on the roundabouts at Colonnade and County Road 19. Just basically a little bit of configuration work, widening, of course, at 19. It'll be brought up to a 2-lane roundabout from the existing 1. And well, you can see the transition from where the MTO just put the traffic lights in at the off ramps and the on ramps for the 416. That's the limit of our construction. We're going right up to meet that new asphalt. So, and as the mayor said, there's 4 new roundabouts being built plus modifications to the 2 existing ones. So this is kind of a depiction of what it's going to look like. There will be, through this section here, there will be a median, a left and right turn median. There will be concrete medians further down by Shoppers Drug Mart. Because all the business that are along here for right now, we decided that we would leave that as a turn lane in the time being. So now this is what it's going to look like at the end. Now, I know that you've seen probably some things going on out there, like the new road is a whole lot lower than the existing road. And, but the existing road will be cut down starting next week. We will be excavating that out. So to let you know what's coming is that we did pave down in the lower section there on the north side of the existing road. We did pave 2 lanes today. So the intent is now this weekend coming up where there's a closure. You've probably seen the signs out, the boards that they've advertised the road closure. The road is being closed Friday and Saturday night and possibly Sunday. We're hoping not Sunday night. And that is to put the girders on the new bridge. So half of the new bridge has been built. The piers are built, the abutments are built. Right now it's waiting for the girders. And we need the road closed because it's going to take 2 cranes to put each girder in place. And there's 18 of them going in there this weekend. That's the plan. We're hoping, the plan is hopefully to get most of them done Friday night and finish them off on Saturday. If not, we've got Sunday in our back pocket if anything goes wrong, and which sometimes does happen. And so the plan is, while the road is closed, so what we are going to do is we are going to move the traffic onto the new asphalt. And that will start on Friday morning. So on Friday morning, we are going to have the westbound traffic is going to be on the new asphalt that was just paved today. The eastbound traffic will remain on the existing road. So the traffic will be divided. It's going to be a bit of inconvenience for everybody, but it should just be for the single day. We are going to, if you're going westbound, you won't have access to the businesses on the south side of County Road 43 on Friday. And the same goes if you're going eastbound, you won't have access to the businesses on the north side of County Road 43. Not unless you go to the roundabouts and come around. But we're Friday night when we close, when the road closes for the girders, Tomlinson is going to have another crew in, and they're going to be tying all the driveways on the south side, all the entrances to the new asphalt that was paved today. So overnight Friday. Now we may not get them all done, but we've picked some key ones that need doing, which we will do. So those will be done, and Saturday night they'll be working again and they'll finish them off. So there's a lot of changes. You're going to see a lot of changes coming next week. So, but anyway, if you want to move on here, Alex, kind of got ahead of myself. So, but yeah, as you can see with the roundabouts, there will be safety improvements, beautification, pedestrian friendly. There will be multi-use pathways on both sides County Road 43 for the entire length of the project. The multi-use pathway is a 3-meter wide asphalt sidewalk per se, but it's built for cycles and for strollers, pedestrians. All the crossings at the roundabouts, they will be controlled pedestrian crossings. So they will, and trees planted, of course. Okay, now here's the bridge here. And so we're a little further along than this now. Right now, the bridge is ready for the girders. So there's nothing going on at the bridge right now. We're waiting for the girders to start coming in Friday night. So with the bridge, now the bridge, once the girders are put in place, there will be formwork put in for the deck, for the concrete deck, but that's probably all the work that'll happen on the bridge this year. They'll pick it up in the spring, pouring the deck, demolishing the existing bridge. So in the spring, we'll move the traffic onto the new 2 lanes that are being constructed now. We'll demolish the old bridge, and Tomlinson will start work on the to the other 2 lanes of the bridge, the new bridge.
How long? Bill, might I ask, once the first of the new 4 lanes, so I don't know how to say this in a well-articulated fashion. So once those 2 new lanes of the new bridge are established, you would expect that to be, say, next June of?
I would say it's probably a little later than
Later.
that, probably later in the summer.
Okay.
Yeah, probably towards the end of the summer.
Okay.
But it may not. I mean, things are going well. We do have good crews out there working. They do know what they're doing. They're fast. They're professional, very good at what they do.
So once the brand new 2 lanes of the bridge are well established and the traffic is moved there, your expectation would be to demolish the old bridge
That's correct.
by the end of 2025? Is that more or less the case?
Yeah,
Okay.
and get started on the 2 new
Right.
lanes.
Which would follow a similar sort of
Same
schedule in
yes.
terms of how that bridge would come to be.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And the bridge, in terms of its 4 lanes, there will be no disruption, no median on the bridge? It'll be a straight 4-lane bridge?
There will be a median.
There will be a
Yeah,
median?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay. So I guess for a while there, it didn't look like there was a lot going on, but there was actually a lot of work going on underground. But now you'll see the changes, quite a bit going up top. So next week, they will be taking down the existing 2 lanes. They will be bringing that down to the level. So the road's not going to be like you see it right now. It'll all be brought down to the level of the 2 new lanes. And then they'll be working, putting underground services in on the south side of 43. They'll be doing that through the winter. So the objectives of this whole project were pedestrian access. Pedestrians were key. That was, the municipality was key, that there was a lot of facilities for pedestrians, and they are being put in. I think that Tomlinson's done a great job through this project of keeping all the accesses to the businesses open. I think communication has been good. I know that the counties has received very few complaints from anybody. I think everybody out there has done a great job with communication and minimizing the disruption to the project, or to the day-to-day business of everybody. So there's been a lot of environmental stuff gone into play here. I don't know if anybody's seen the site, but there's a yellow curtain in there called a turbidity curtain. There's wildlife fencing to keep wildlife out. There's the turbidity curtain is keeping the fish out. There's a lot of things have been taking place there just with environmental concerns in mind. And hopefully with the impact to the local business has been minimized. We're doing the best that we can. And Tomlinson has done great about mitigating any disruptions to the businesses. They've gone out of their way in some cases. So the potential challenges of this job basically is to keep everything moving. And I think that that's been done. We've kept the road open with very few disruptions. The only closure to date, we've had minor ones, yes, that's true, but the only real major closures to date will be this weekend coming up, and that's overnight. Tomlinson has agreed to do that overnight, which is great. And yeah, that's, everything has been communicated, I guess. So any questions?
Maybe before we do that, we'll go to Alex. I don't know, Alex. Alex is part of a project management team with Aegis. So they're sort of liaising with both counties and Tomlinson. So maybe, Alex, you want us to speak to the website that you guys are managing and updating, and some of the other communication efforts we're making in coordination, obviously, with counties, municipality, and yourselves to do our best to make sure that residents and businesses understand both the short-term and long-term activity that's happening when it comes to the construction.
Thank you. Again, my name is Alex, part of the Aegis Group, and we currently maintain a website that monitors and provides necessary information to the public regarding this project. So what we see on the website regularly is updated pictures of progress of the work, as well as important public notices such as upcoming disturbances that might be for the traveling public or businesses. So we try to keep the public informed as much as we can and as accurately as we can, because we all know that things change. So we try not to flood the information with the public with information that's not necessarily relevant. So we tend to keep short but sweet, accurate information to the website, specifically for major disruptions like we're going to see this week and this weekend. We do provide monthly progress pictures of what we can see on site. Sometimes you don't see it from the road under the bridge, and we also keep a progress video camera that updates every 10 minutes. We will be issuing newsletters on a quarterly basis throughout the year. I believe the first one was just recently provided, just to keep the public updated with some important notices.
And if I'm not mistaken, anyone can go to our website to sign up for those newsletters if they want to receive them, or is that specific to our stakeholders? I don't quite remember, Alex.
No, that can be anyone that has an email address can sign up for it.
Perfect. Okay. Oh, perfect. Okay. So through the Municipality of North Grenville's County Road 43 page, which links to the project management page, you can also find those newsletters. They're more of a reporting out. Any more time-sensitive information obviously would be communicated through Aegis in terms of the disruptions and transitions this weekend. Alex was out this morning visiting all the affected businesses to make sure that they were aware of what's coming up. I think we do need to acknowledge that it is disruptive, to some of our local businesses. As good as the communication, as good as our intentions are to communicate well and to ensure businesses are informed, the reality is we know that some people are avoiding County Road 43, and that might be having a minimal or a significant impact on a local business. So we don't want to diminish the fact that obviously anytime you have construction of this magnitude, some people are going to change their driving habits, no doubt. So we recognize that, and I know both the Chamber and BIA have been engaged, and we continue to invite their feedback. They're part of a stakeholders group where we come together with Bill and Alex and Keena and Matt and others to ensure that at least there's conversation about how we move forward together. I neglected to say that this is effectively a $50 million project. The municipality of North Grenville's share is more or less $10 million, and that's for water and sewer, for lighting, for multi-use pathways, for trees, and some other aesthetic pieces. So that's our share. The ISIP grant that I spoke of earlier, which is the provincial federal grant, is just under 10, around 8.8, and then the county share is in and around $30 million. So, a very, very sizable project. And we're happy to report that the relationship with Tomlinson seems to be very strong. And Bill has been doing a fantastic job of overseeing that group alongside Alex and his team, who are sort of the day-to-day liaisons. So it's been all hands on deck, really. I have to say that at the beginning of this project, I was feeling some trepidation about how we would all have to manage such a sizable construction project, but we're pleased to see the progress. And I think I'm encouraged to hear, as I often do when I check in with Bill or Alex or others, that we are on track. And that is a hopeful sign, because we're all eager to see the end of this, as quickly as possible. So if we haven't missed anything, we'd be happy to take any of your questions or any of the questions that might be coming through the live stream. Any questions from this group here tonight? Anything? Yes, go ahead. And Derek, I'm going to repeat your question for the benefit of the live stream. So if you could just speak so I can just amplify so I can hear you. So just to repeat the question for those who are listening, Derek's question is, can you explain the difference in elevation between the north and southbound lanes? It's very evident right now that there is a significant elevation disparity. So Bill, I know you referenced that earlier, but if you could explain in more fulsome fashion.
Sure. The lanes on the south side will be cut down to be to the level of the northbound lanes now. This was done because now with catch basins on the road, we have to have overland flow to feed the catch basins because everything now, the ditches are gone. All the storm water now is gone underground. So we needed flow towards the creek, and basically the creek being a set point, we had to take from the creek and work our way back up. And that's the reason that we had to cut the road down. Everything will be brought down to that grade. Pretty much at 44 and 43, that's going to pretty much stay where it is right now. And there's not a lot on the east side of the bridge. We're pretty much at grade. So the east side will pretty much stay where it is. There'll be minor adjustments, but not near as drastic as on the west side.
So we have a question on the live stream, but please raise your hands if any of you in the room would like to ask a question. So one of the questions on the live stream from Dave is, what is the process for a pedestrian crossing from north to south or vice versa? And I presume when Dave asks that question, we're thinking specifically of the roundabouts because that's where the safe pedestrian crossings will be. But Bill, I'll pass that over to you.
Yeah, when we're finished, yes. Through the winter, though, there is not going to be a lot of great pedestrian facilities out there. There will be a walkway from the school to County Road 43, and it'll be paved and maintained. But other than that, no, there's not, and across the bridge. Yeah, there will be access across the bridge, but not a lot of pedestrian facilities.
And you're speaking of on either side of County Road 43 in particular, I believe. So when we still have that light at the Shoppers Drug Mart Plaza that allows particularly high school students and others wanting to cross 43, that's probably their safest passage way at this stage.
That and at 44, those won't change. The traffic light at Shoppers Drug Mart is going to stay as it is for the winter. That's not changing. So the pedestrian accesses will be there.
But alongside 43 on either side, where there's already been very limited pedestrian facilities, there really won't be anything.
No, and especially on the south side, because there will be a lot of work done on the south side. Tomlinson will be in there doing a lot of underground services through the course of the winter.
So effectively, we should be discouraging people to walk 43 if at all possible.
Yeah, if possible, yes.
Okay. All right. Yes, sir. Again, just repeating the question, I think you're speaking to the elevation, the difference in elevation between the north side and the south side. So you want to take that one again?
Yes, there will be ramps going up through the course of the winter. Yeah, it will be. While the traffic is over on the two new lanes that are down lower now, yes, there will be ramps through there. But no, there won't be ramps. No. It looks more drastic than it's actually going to be when it's completed.
So just before Bill, the question is about the boulevard and turning lanes. Go ahead.
Yes, through the entire length. Yes, it'll either be a concrete median or a left turn lane. Yes, through the entire length of the project.
Okay, I do see a couple of Zoom questions. So Hillary, if I don't have them, if I'm missing anything, please let me know. When cutting the south side down to the north side level, that will not leave the businesses on the south side much higher than the road level when complete. Bill?
I know it looks that way now, but no, it won't be that bad once it's complete. No, because there will be curbs in there, and there'll be positive drainage. Actually, there'll be better drainage coming out of those parking lots than there is now. So no, it won't be a problem. All that's been taken into consideration.
Okay, great. So from Ed, I have a question regarding roundabouts at 43 and 44. With all the new houses being built west of 44 on Heard and beside Food Basics, how many pedestrian crossings are there going to be? I can't imagine this roundabout will not be tied up. If not now, but in the future when all houses are complete.
Right now, there will be 3 crossings put in. There will be a crossing across 44. Oh no, sorry, there'll only be 2. There will be a crossing across 44 on the south side, and there will be a crossing across 43 on the east side of the roundabout. All the infrastructure for the underground conduits and stuff for the electrical will be put in for crossings on the north side of 44 to the west side to the west side of 44, and then on the west side of 43 crossing there. All the infrastructure will be put in, but the crosswalks won't be built at this time because I can't put a crosswalk in where I don't have a place to send the pedestrians. So right now there is no sidewalk there to send them to, but we will put the depressed curbs in. We'll put all the facilities in there for the control crossing, and it'll be ready to go when sidewalks are put in there. So.
And you're talking about the stretch from 44 down past Food Basics. Is it that stretch you're speaking of?
Yes, that
Right.
stretch there. Yeah. Yeah. We won't have a control crossing for there.
And some have asked about that next section of road from 44 to effectively Food Basics and the new Mattamy development. And I'll just have Bill speak to forthcoming plans for that section of road. They weren't currently envisioned as part of this rehabilitation project for 43 by virtue of the application that was submitted to the federal provincial grant that I spoke of earlier. We effectively needed shovel-ready designs for that application. And in 2018, the further expansion of 43 from 44 down to Food Basics, Mattamy, hadn't been contemplated. So, Bill, can you speak at all to where the county sits with that next section of 43?
Right now, there is no plans for the counties to expand that to 4 lanes. Not at this time. We've got a lot of roads out there that need work, and so that's not on our horizon.
So when it comes to pedestrian facilities, should we see the need for pedestrian facilities between 44 and Food Basics, the municipality would be working with the counties to establish some pedestrian facilities potentially,
That is correct.
right?
Yes.
Independent of any particular road
Yes.
expansion.
Yes.
In order to facilitate safe passageway for someone in a wheelchair, mobility scooter,
Yes.
walker, cyclist.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Hillary, any other questions on the Zoom? Dave, right. From Dave, when complete, will walkers push a button for traffic to stop? And I presume that question is within the roundabouts. Will you have a pedestrian activated crossing with lights?
Yes. All the crossings will be activated with lights. Yes.
Great. Other questions from the room today? Yes. Yes, so the question, just for anyone who couldn't hear it, is where will those roundabouts be? That's a great question. So Bill, if you can point to the locations of those 4 roundabouts.
Yep. There's one at Anniversary Way. There'll be one at Shoppers St. Mike's. There'll be another one at County Road 44. And the 4th one is on the east side of the creek by Stinson's and Kempville Retirement.
Thanks, go ahead. So I'll just repeat so that people listening, uh, Bill, can you clarify the location of those left-hand turn lanes and concrete medians?
The concrete medians will be from County Road 44 to just past St. Mike's. The left-hand turn lanes will be from there to the creek. There will be a left-hand turn through a concrete median. There will be a concrete median running across the front of the school, but there will be an opening for a left-hand turn lane.
No problem. Yes, sir. So this is about the roundabout in front of St. Mike's and the potential access to James Street from that particular roundabout, correct? Yeah. Okay.
No, there will be no access to James Street. That's only a 3-point roundabout. Well, it's where the roundabout sits now, it's closer to it. The roundabout is going to take a big chunk right out of the Shoppers Plaza right now. So it's a little further to the east than James Street. Yeah, this is where it's situated. So
So there will still be access to James Street
Yes.
from 43, so that doesn't change. It's just that the roundabout doesn't feed
No.
into a
No.
right-hand turn onto James.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for your question. Other questions? Go ahead. Great question. So the bridge, is the bridge going to be fully fluid and connected 4 lanes, or will it be built differently than that?
It will be connected 4 lanes. It will be connected, yes.
So even though it's being built in 2 separate parts, the bridge will remain connected with a concrete median in the middle? Is that what I
Yes, when
heard?
it's, yes.
Okay.
When it's completed, yes, it will be connected. On both sides, and this, it'll be the same multi-use pathway, the same, it'll be a 3-meter wide. So
So this question is in regards to lighting on the new 43, the expanded 43. I'm quite confident that we're going to have much better lighting than we had up to now. Oh, signal lights. You meant traffic lights. Gotcha. Go ahead, Bill.
no, traffic lights are gone. We got roundabouts instead.
Other questions from the room here? Yep, go ahead. So Sandra's questions, again, is in regards to the elevation of both sides of the road. We have a disparity currently, so maybe you could explain the elevation variations that exist right now. Did I get it right, Sandra? Okay.
The road, the section on the north side that's lower right now, that will be coming up a little bit, but not a lot. The existing road will be coming down to meet the new road.
The
So,
question is just in regards to the usage of ramps while there's that disparity in elevation.
so the ramps will be there through the winter. Yeah.
So you expect by April?
No, because they'll have to prep the road base and pave it. But those 2 lanes would get paved sometime next year. Right now, I couldn't tell you exactly when.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Sandra? Okay, excellent. Other questions from the room? I know we have another question via Zoom, and I think I understand the question. Bill, we'll have the 4 lanes, 43, 44. We'll have the expanded 43 coming up to 44. And I know then we're going to have roundabouts. We'll have the roundabout, and then the roundabout going into Oldham Kempville will go into effectively a 2-lane road. Is that correct?
That is correct. That'll be on 3 points of that roundabout. Yeah, going
Right.
back down 43, up on north on 44 and south on 44.
Right. So with that in mind, one of the concerns I've heard is that the flow of traffic from 4 lanes into a roundabout, and then you're going into sort of 2 lanes, how will that facilitate traffic flow? How do you take 4 lanes of traffic and then move around a roundabout into sort of a smaller, narrow road, which would only be 2 lanes?
Well, that's part of why we're extending on up 44 and west on 43 an additional 200 meters to make those transitions.
Okay. To help people narrow into
That's correct.
1
Yes.
lane
Yes.
where they're coming off 2 lanes.
That's right. Yes.
Right. Okay. I think I've done justice to that question, but if not, I'm sure we'll get a follow-up on the Zoom. All right. Anything else? Go ahead, sir. Yes, I'm happy to report over a year ago, we received $900,000 to support the expansion of that multi-use pathway. The last year has been spent in a design phase. There are some complexities because of some environmental considerations in terms of the extension of that multi-use pathway from Settlers all the way down to Equinel. But I understand a tender is coming to council shortly to begin the construction with completion at some point next year. I know our CEO is with us on Zoom. I believe our expectation is that by next August, construction of that multi-use pathway should be complete. Some preliminary construction of the base for the multi-use pathway is supposed to be taking place over the winter. If Ms. Dunlop feels the need to correct me on my understanding of timing, feel free, but we're very happy to report that we did receive a significant federal grant to support us in the extension of that multi-use pathway. I will say that the condition of County Road 44 going into the downtown, as many of you know, is quite poor. That road has deteriorated. Obviously, the county's does its patchwork to keep it, drivable. But we acknowledge that through the counties and in collaboration with the municipality where there's a need to do underground works there for both water and sewer, once we transition out of this phase of 43 expansion, we will be placing particular attention on seeing if we can get some additional financial support to get that section of 44 done, because it is in fairly poor condition. And I know Bill recognizes that, but there are certainly many competing priorities at the counties, and tackling the section of 43 and the bridge that is currently underway became the priority for the United Counties of Leeds and Grenville. Other questions? Go ahead. Yes, great. So I'm going to turn that over to Bill, of course. And the question is, with restricted access on Friday, Saturday, in terms of eastbound, westbound lanes, as we transition from Old Road to New Road? How do people access both the school and South Side and North Side businesses?
The school won't be affected. There will be no restrictions at the school. Access to the school will be maintained. To access any other business, you'll have to go to the roundabout and come around and go the other way
Now, that's only true until both lanes
until both.
become functional, which is by the end of the weekend?
But yeah, well, hopefully, we're hoping that by Saturday, that there is access to both sides. There won't be full access, but we're hoping by Sunday there is full access.
And I think the challenge for us as a community is, obviously the proximity from the new 43 to some of those businesses will change, right? So you won't have the same visibility, and it may feel a little more inconvenient to have to kind of come up, if you will, to frequent some of those businesses. But we're very hopeful that as a community, we'll step up to support some of those businesses that are enduring sort of the most intense construction impacts, if you will. So we'll certainly be encouraging both the chamber and ourselves as a municipality to really promote and shine the light on some of those businesses. We know just coming out of COVID, it's a tough go. It's not easy for any of those businesses to have to endure long periods of construction. So we're certainly hopeful as an organization, as a community, that we rally around them. Other questions for Bill and Alex? Yeah, go ahead. Excellent question. So just for people listening, this is about the bridge and the placement of the steel girders.
Yeah, they're at. Yep. Yeah, they're concrete girders, and there's 4 points there right now. 2 piers in the center and 2 abutments at the end. The road meets the abutments. And the girders will sit on those 4 points, spanning everything between.
Great. Any other questions from the room? Question from Zoom is, when were the designs generated for County Road 43? So the question is, when were the design plans made for County Road 43?
The design started in 2010, but with various changes and things that were going on, the design was actually completed in 2022.
That's right. I remember that because certainly it informed, in fact, how property acquisition took place around 43 and some of the, not so much delays, but some of the lead up to the actual construction phase that took longer than I would have understood initially at County Council was negotiating with up to 28 property owners,
Yeah,
Bill?
about 28 different owners for about 36 different parcels of property.
Right. So that was really a 2-year process, and it was based upon those sort of final design plans, if you will, because the acquisition of land was very much dependent on the very minute details about where we needed to acquire some of that property so that we could proceed with the expansion.
If I could just add to that for a minute too, we took a lot of pains to make sure that we stayed away from residential properties and that any property we bought was commercial.
And all business, the process by which property was acquired was through a fair negotiation where an appraisal was made independently. If a business owner wanted a second appraisal, then they could proceed with that, I think on a cost-sharing basis. And then through 2 appraisals, if someone felt that a second appraisal was needed, the counties would make an offer, again, recognizing fair market value as the primary driver. And some decisions or recommendations were brought to County Council for final approval. But thankfully, all of those landowners willingly sold their lands. All right. Anything else? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Build passageway under the bridge?
No, that's wetland construction under the bridge, yeah. Environmental habitat.
So what does that mean?
It's like a wildlife refuge and it's a naturalization, which kind of throwing that in there helped us a lot with our permits. There's a lot of permits involved in this project. Department of Fisheries and Oceans, conservation authorities, Ministry of Natural Resources. Every permit known to man is involved in this project.
So will there be a pedestrian lane to cross the bridge?
That'll be maintained, yes. There will be a pedestrian lane across the bridge through the winter, yes.
Okay. And then sorry, I think I overlooked a question from Ed again. Did you know at the time of all of the new houses going in when plans were made in 2022, did you know at the time, I think of the final designs for 43 about all of the new houses that are going in next to Mattamy? So I guess the question is, were the development plans related to what we now call the Mattamy subdivision apparent to the counties when the final design for County Road 43 was done?
A lot of the development was in preliminary stages when the design for this project was commenced. And you can't keep expanding on it or you never get anything done. You have to put a line in the sand and say, this is where we're going to go to. This is our limits. Let's get this done. Let development happen and then we'll play catch up.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Go ahead, sir. Hello, Tom. Tom, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do justice to your question. So maybe, Bill, in answering it, you can sort of restate what Tom was asking.
Yeah, the turning lane through there between it is to accommodate the businesses. It is to help with the businesses in the beginning. We did initially look at a concrete median through there to eliminate the left-hand turns. And then we changed our minds on it, but it's not that difficult to put one in, like to go in after the fact and to put a concrete median in there.
Tom, do you want to come down? Do you have any other follow-ups or is this your last question? Okay. You're welcome to come down. I just don't think I can effectively restate your question. So I'm going to rely on Bill to help people who are listening via Zoom understand the question you're about to answer. Bill.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure what you're asking there, Tom. Yeah, coming out of the roundabout. Yeah, you have to have them coming out of the roundabouts. Yes. No, but they have a roundabout on either side of the bridge. Well, they do. Yeah, it's a little longer of a distance. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So the feedback was provided was on the placement of a concrete median down more 43 to achieve that boulevard effect. Is that what I heard correctly, Tom? More or less? Yeah. Right. Right. Is there anything you'd like to add in terms of
Yeah.
the flow of traffic on either side of 43?
Yeah, the depiction is kind of, I mean, it's a depiction. It's there for the businesses on the south side, like you said. That's why it's the left-hand turn lane is there. Yeah.
And certainly some of these adjustments, these very small adjustments in terms of the placement of concrete medians can be contemplated as the project goes along?
It can be, yeah.
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 Okay. So thank you for your feedback. Yes, go ahead. So question is in regards to the use of multi-use pathways and the distance between the multi-use pathway and the road and how those using the multi-use pathway will be safely accommodated in light of some of that traffic. Bill?
Between the curb on the road and the multi-use pathway is 1.5 meters. Yeah. And then there's another 1.5 meters behind the multi-use pathway to the property line.
Scenario of a car turning and not noticing the cycles coming up, thinking they can get there before these cars come up for them, all of a sudden they're stopping. That's not a great distance.
Question is again on how the multi-use pathway sort of interacts with drivers on the road. So Bill, a follow up there?
Yeah, so like like the multi-use pathway is for cyclists and stuff too. So at the roads, I'm not sure if we have it in our drawings or not, but there will be stop signs for the pathway. On the pathway when they come to the road. The road will have priority.
I'm just mindful of the Zoom. We have Ed saying, this is more of a statement than a question, trying to get into the circle from 44 won't be easy. Don't play catch up with our tax dollars. The circle at 44 and 44, sorry, the circle at 44 and 43 won't work. Mind my words, fix it now before you spend the money. And I believe Ed's comment is in regards to going from 4 lanes to 2 lanes on either side of 43. Does that make sense, Bill?
Yeah, I think that's what he's trying to say. Yeah, yeah. So, but this is where we're at though right now.
I see another question here. So just the question is how people, yeah. Yeah. Right. So this is partly about roundabout protocols and how drivers, whether you're on 43 or coming on to 43, yield to other drivers. And I think, Susie, you're speaking to some of the roundabout utilization that we see now, where there's sort of an assumption that if you're on 43 driving through one of those roundabouts, you sort of take priority, if you will. So the question is really about signage and how do we ensure that drivers on 43 navigating these roundabouts don't yield? How do we ensure that they do yield to all users of the roundabout? So what kind of signage will exist?
Well, there won't really be any signage to that effect. I mean, like it is going to be a 2-lane roundabout now. So there won't be a single lane in there. A roundabout is created to keep traffic moving. There is no priority from whatever direction you're coming from. It's as you get to the roundabout, yeah, you proceed. Yeah, well, if there's somebody coming around on the roundabout, of course you have to yield the right of way to them. Right. But you pull in as soon as you possibly can, as soon as it's safe to do so. No. Yeah.
I think Susie is I think Susie's speaking to roundabout protocols, and certainly with the addition of 4 additional roundabouts, Susie, you make a good point. There's always been suggestions that we need to enhance driver understanding of how to use roundabouts, and if you come from a community where roundabouts haven't been well utilized or there aren't that many of them, certainly perhaps, Bill, we can reflect on how we can help
Yeah.
drivers understand how to navigate some of these roundabouts, because we're certainly going to have 4 more than is already there.
Well, you see all these crazy jogs coming into them, like they don't go straight in. And that purpose of that is to slow everybody down coming into it, to make it easier for anybody to access off of any leg. So we slow the traffic down. Excuse me. The design with the concrete medians and everything is to get the traffic down to around 30 kilometers per hour so that everybody can access it from whatever leg they're trying to access it. So. And most of our signage there will be for the pedestrians because they will all have pedestrian crossings. So there's not going to be too many signs that are going to distract from the pedestrian signage. So. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I've seen people go right through the middle of them and down. I mean, I have a property in Nova Scotia and we have a roundabout that comes off a roundabout down there. And I've seen people doing that one in the wrong direction. So it's just. Easy now.
Yeah, you're speaking to a Newfoundlander and a Nova Scotian. You got to be really careful. Okay, but point well taken. With an additional 4, I certainly think that whatever we can do through the counties and the municipality to heighten awareness may be useful. So I don't know exactly what that looks like, but we have an amazing comms team, and maybe they can help envision what might be valuable. I know Ed would like to make a further point about the roundabout at 43 and 44. So I think, Hillary, you're trying to connect Ed's audio. So I don't know if you can hear us. I know this is a point you feel passionately about. So when we see that you're connected, we'll acknowledge you. But in the meantime, any other questions? I'll acknowledge Councillor Wilson until I know that Ed is connected. Go ahead, Councillor Wilson. No, I don't see that Ed is connected yet.
Well, I have been.
Oh, there you are. Great. It says connecting to audio. So welcome, Ed. A voice from a voice from above. Go ahead.
Mr. Hill, my question, which I've sent many, I guess, but I'm going to explain it to you. First of all, there's 500 houses going in there now. There's going to be another 600 houses. They're going to be coming down to get on the 416, 417 and going home to get on the 416, 417. How in the hell are people going to get across 44? It's easy to say, get in when you got your chance. But if you're coming down 44 going north, you have to get into the far second lane or the first lane, I guess it is, to get on to 44 past the gas station and on towards Clothier. I don't know how this is going to work. And when these kids or kids from St. Mike hit a button, that's going to stop all the traffic. And the lights keep going till they're across, and then they keep going afterwards. It's going to be a zoo. And you say, well, you got to go with what you got and fix it later. Why not fix it now? A circle will not work at that corner. And I'm yes, I'm very passionate about this. And there's other people in this town passionate about it. Don't fix it later. That circle, I would just guess that's between the circle and everything else going on in that one location, likely to be upwards to $1 million. And you say, well, you got to go with what you got now and then fix it later. No, you're spending our tax dollars to fix something that is, it shouldn't be there anyways. You've got to have lights, traffic lights, so at least the people get across and move forward and down. Right now it's tied up. You try to come down River Road and get on where McEwen's gas station is. You try to get into there at say 4:30 to 5:30, and that's good luck. You're taking your chance, because if you want to get across there and go towards Van Buren Street, it's not fun. And when you're putting this on 44, yeah, I don't know how people are going to get across there. I honestly don't. I'm very passionate about it. And as I said, mark my words, I like will be around in 5 years. But anyways, you'll have to be doing something with that circle. So do it now, please. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ed. And I don't know, Bill, if there's another follow-up. I think Ed is speaking to the growth and the volume of traffic that will be, I guess, crossing 43 or traveling 43 as well as 44.
Yeah, Ed, I got to disagree with you. I think it is going to work in the short term, probably not in the long term, depending on development. But no, I can't agree with what you're saying there.
Other questions? So the question is, current roundabouts have vegetation?
Well, as you do come around the roundabout, you will be able to see the pedestrians. So as you're coming around, we have to have the foliage in the middle. There has to be plants in the middle. That's otherwise, as you're coming up onto a roundabout at night, it looks like you're coming head on into some other traffic coming the other direction. So we have to have something in the middle to break that. You will see the pedestrians. There will be, there is a concrete apron too as well between the asphalt and the center. So there is really good visibility for pedestrians.
Just looking for any other questions in the room. Councillor Wilson, thank you. Go ahead. So the existing roundabouts?
Yeah, there will be some modifications done to, well, 19 will have a lane added to it, and Colonnade, there will be some modifications done there. Yeah. No, there won't be. Yeah.
So you're speaking of a shoulder effectively on 43, and what happens if a car breaks down? I'm just repeating your question for anyone still listening on Zoom. We have quite a few people. So what is, there's no buffer, if you will, right? Because you. Mhm.
No, there's not. No.
So no buffer and no real shoulder, just given how the road is
You do have
designed.
2 lanes though. So
Right.
there is, like, you do have a lane, you can stop it.
Right.
Plus the speed limit will be down to 50. So, yeah. Well, you can, or you can pull into the first parking lot. Yeah.
I just want to just go back. I think, we've received a lot of questions about pedestrian connectivity from the Mattamy development all the way up to 44, and just connected to some of Ed's comments. I think as a municipality and a county's, some of that planning for the heavy or significant increase in volume of traffic as we grow will need to be fully accommodated in some of the county and municipal plans as we move forward. Certainly, there's a lot of other roads projects at the United Counties, but certainly the municipality of North Granville has the highest growth at this time, at least. So I understand why there's that concern about volume of traffic. To your point, Bill, I think in the short term it may be workable, but as that traffic increases, I think we have an obligation as a municipality and the counties to figure out what we're going to do with all that volume of traffic, because in the long run, given the current proposed size of the Mattamy subdivision, which was not certainly in play in 2022. There were preliminary designs, to your point, but the actual scope of that project was certainly not well understood in 2022. So we're sort of left in a situation where with the growth of that Mattamy, well, the establishment and the anticipated growth of that development, as well as the continued growth of Equinel, which some of you, I'm sure, are very familiar with. If you don't, maybe you reside there, but Equinel is only about 60% done. So Equinel's growth is continuing. So as we grow as a community, I can see that some of these designs for 43 in particular might not have fully anticipated the impacts of that growth in the long term. And certainly we're hearing that not just for the volume of cars, but also that pedestrian connectivity is an issue coming out of Mattamy all the way up County Road 43 to 44. And we've asked our own municipal staff to look at some workarounds so that there's safe pedestrian connectivity for the hundreds of families that are going to be living in the Mattamy development. So there's no doubt in certain respects we will be playing catch up, which is not necessarily the way anyone wanted it, but it's the way that development sometimes happens, not just in this community, but across the province. So just going back to the Zoom questions, and we'll look to wrap up in the next 15 minutes or so. So if you have any last questions, please feel free. Why not have an elevated crosswalk at the high school? So this is a question via Zoom. An elevated crosswalk at the high school. Does that make sense? Do you mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking,
right, okay. You mean an overhead crosswalk that would transcend the road? Yes, Bill, do you want to speak to that?
Well, there is going to be, well, with the roundabout and the signalized crosswalks, it's going to be, I don't see a need for it personally, but they're not used that often. I don't see a need for it here. It's not something we considered. There will be signalized crossings at the roundabout. It should be safe crossings.
The other comment is maybe we should restrict growth in these high density communities until there are enough services that can handle them. So that's a bigger question about how growth happens in many different communities, including North Granville, but certainly thank you for the comment. Is there anything else in regards to, yep, see two hands in the room. Go ahead. Yes. Yes, the question is in regards to the lighting on County Road 43 and why the poles didn't go underground. Bill?
Do you mean the hydro poles on the east side? Yeah, I don't know why hydro did that. That was hydro. That we had nothing to do with that.
So when we contracted Hydro to upgrade the lighting, they make that decision about how it's implemented?
No, hydro undertook because of the growth actually going on here. Hydro took a massive upgrade up here in Kentville. And they put a lot of money into Kentville to what they did with the power. And that was their decision to go overhead on the east side of the creek. Everything on the west side is underground. But I don't know why they did that. I don't know where that decision came from.
Thanks for your comment. Second person had raised his hand. Go ahead. Lighting on 43 itself. Great question. So will it be compliant, I guess, with our dark sky policy, or what kind of lighting are
Yeah,
we planning for?
yeah, that's, you're correct. The lighting will be down. There will be there'd be two sets of lighting. There'll be pedestrian lighting and there will also be the street lighting. It'll be well lit.
Anything else from people in the room? Yep, go ahead. So question is about placement of trees on the newly expanded County Road 43.
There will be trees. Well, they're here and there and they're everywhere. So yeah, it's not going to be forested. No, it won't be. So yeah, there will be. Yes. Yeah, there will be shade trees and there will be benches. So there will be rest areas along the multi-use pathways. So yeah, yeah.
Okay, good. Anything else from the room in terms of questions? Councillor Wilson, anything else from you? No, we're good. Okay. And I'm just going to look on Zoom. Ed is just making another point about really recognizing with the surge in housing, best to fix it first before you put it in. If we were living in Nova Scotia, we wouldn't need crosswalks, traffic stops, no matter where you're trying to cross. I think you were speaking to the hospitality in Nova Scotia, Ed. So thank you. Thank you for that. And certainly I will take to heart what you've said and follow up with Bill just in terms of how we plan appropriately for the increased volume of traffic. The reality is North Granville growth has accelerated during the pandemic, and the growth projections that were conducted on behalf of the municipality in the last year through a third-party consultant show very, very strong growth over the next 5 years. Again, some of the highest growth in the counties, but I would say also very, very high growth in Eastern Ontario. So some of these concerns about growth are very real in terms of the impact on our roads and our infrastructure. A lot is being undertaken right now to make sure that the municipality has the appropriate infrastructure, and that includes a very significant expansion of our sewage treatment plant, which has done outstanding work for 30 years, but is in need of a significant expansion as we anticipate growth, and also just to modernize the current facilities. So that construction is underway. There's also a servicing master plan that's being undertaken in terms of where else we can provide servicing to the community, because the urban service area currently in North Granville has a smaller footprint, and we recognize that urban service area likely has to expand. So there's certainly
a lot of efforts underway to recognize and plan for the growth that we're seeing in the community. But there's no doubt that it's not perfect. There'll be ups and downs along the way, but a lot of good work is being done. But I certainly would acknowledge on County Road 43, just because of the length of time it took from 2010 to 2022 to get this project moving, that some of the design was arguably out of step with some of the growth we're seeing in North Grenville, and that gap wasn't easy to close. And except that, Ed's points among others, certainly are ones that we're going to have to address in certainly the mid to long term. So appreciate everyone's comments this evening, whether you've been on the live stream or in the room. Our goal all the way along has been to provide as much information as possible, to be as candid and frank with you as we can be, and to ensure that whether you're a resident or you're a business leader, business owner, that you are able to access Alex and his team, or Bill and his team, or Matt and his team here at the municipality when it comes to supporting economic development and good communications through KENA. So we know we know we're still in the thick of it. We've got some time to go, but we do plan to continue to hold these sessions periodically as we transition through the various phases of County Road 43. So thank you very much for your time. Alex, Bill, is there any last words you'd like to offer at this stage?
Nope, I'm good at this time, but just to make sure that everyone's aware, if there are any specific issues or comments or concerns that anyone has, feel free to reach us at the Aegis group with the information that you see up on the screen. I do have business cards. If there are ever any concerns, comments, or specific needs or questions regarding your specific situation, specifically for this project, please feel free to reach out to us and we can go through that. Thanks.
Thank you. Bill, anything else?
I'd like to say thanks for coming out and giving us your time tonight. Much appreciated. Good questions.
Thank you. Oh, excellent. So we'll be sticking around for a bit if anyone else wants to come and have a chat. But echoing everyone else, thank you for coming out. And please share the information that you've learned tonight and direct people to the municipality's website or the County Road 43 expansion page. There's